A few years ago, I used to play video games and stream them online. I wasn't super popular or anything, I just did it for fun. Mostly, I would stream on Twitch for my friends, and usually anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 of them would watch me play. Sometimes they would play alongside me in the games as well. Every now and then, a few random people would hop on to watch the stream too, but I never got more than 10 viewers at once. I wasn't exactly out to become famous or anything. One night, I was streaming Fortnite. It was almost a nightly thing for me to do. At the time, I was playing with my friend Zach, who was also watching the stream. I remember that at one point, another random viewer jumped in. Soon, this new viewer started talking in chat and leaving comments. I didn't recognize the username, so I realized it was someone new. I said hello to them and welcomed them to the stream. The person responded by saying hi, but a short time later, their comments turned bad. It started with basic insults, calling me names and cursing at me. I assumed it was some teenage kid just messing around on a Twitch account. I remember asking on stream why he was so angry. My friend thought it was really funny. Then the comments started to get threatening. The users said something like they were going to find me and that they knew where I lived or something along those lines. Obviously, I didn't take the threat very seriously. I had no idea why they would act this way because my stream was always fun and lighthearted. The first comment that really raised my eyebrows was when they mentioned my real name. They said they knew my name, and when I asked what it was, the user commented it fully. This shocked me because my name wasn't my username or anything like that. This person knew my last name as well. It was then that I figured it had to be one of my friends messing with me. That's what Zach thought too. I remember Zach asking who it was and going through a list of friends. The person denied it all, and after going back and forth for a while, they eventually left. I ended the stream a short time later, but the very next night, the person was back again. I went back on and did what I usually did. I was playing Fortnite again, and Zach also joined. It was just the two of us, just like the night before. 30 minutes into the stream, though, the mystery person returned. They picked up right where they left off, but this time they said they were coming to my house. I was kind of fed up with it. I said, "Okay, buddy, let's see it." Still not taking it very seriously. They went quiet in the chat for a while, but out of nowhere, the person commented that they were at my home, right now. As they did this, a sudden, loud banging came from my front door. I lived in a house that I rented with a roommate. At the time, my roommate was at work, and I was home by myself. After I heard the knocking, I told Zach about it, who seemed shocked. This definitely had to be a friend of ours, right? I said I was getting up and went over to look at what was going on. After leaving my bedroom and entering the living room, I could immediately see someone through the front window. There was a man standing on the front step, wearing all black, with a ski mask on. He didn't resemble any of my friends. I guess it could have been one of them, but I had a bad feeling about this. This was somebody else. I went back into my bedroom and asked the guy through my stream what he wanted. He didn't respond to that, but instead began banging on the front door again. I wasn't going to answer. The mysterious man then made a comment that he hated my car. I don't know why he said that, but then he left the stream. I really had no idea what was going on. Zach and I talked about who it could be. I told him that it really looked like it was someone completely random. Zach was telling me I should go out and confront the guy. Eventually, I left my bedroom to check what was going on, but the guy appeared to be gone. I looked out of every window and didn't see him anywhere. The next day, I was leaving for work. When I got to my car in the driveway, I noticed there was a gigantic dent in the driver's door, like somebody had hit it with a hammer or something. I remembered the comment the guy made about hating my vehicle, which was a Pontiac Aztek. I knew none of my friends would go so far as to damage my vehicle like that. After that, I decided to stop streaming for a while. I told all my friends about it, and like I expected, none of them knew who it could be. It remains a mystery to me to this day. I don't live in that house anymore. I did stream on Twitch again later, but the guy never joined another stream of mine. Or if he did, he never said anything again.
Enjoying the story so far? If creepy tales are your thing, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. Got a scary story of your own? If you have a true horror experience you'd like me to share on the channel, send it to the email address listed in the video description. Your story could be featured in an upcoming episode. Now, back to the horror.
This happened when I had just recently started renting a new house. Well, the house itself wasn't really new, but it was new to me. I had moved to that city for my job and needed a place to live. I was going month to month in this rental place. It was a pretty standard house for the most part. It had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a basement, which was unfinished. Not long into living there, I started noticing strange noises at night. I would be in bed just trying to fall asleep, and then think I heard something from downstairs. I couldn't exactly tell what the noises were. At first, it made me nervous that somebody might be in my home or something, but I quickly chalked it up to the house making noises. Maybe it was the boiler or just regular old creaks, because of where I was in my bedroom and the fact that the door was closed. I never really heard them all that clearly. One night, though, I heard something that seemed much louder, so loud that it caused me to immediately get up and out of bed. I decided to go downstairs and look around. When I did, I didn't see anything unusual. I heard no more noises and figured it was just the old house. I hadn't lived in a house like that before, so I didn't really know what to expect. I had always lived with roommates or a big family my entire life, so I never really had a quiet house all to myself. For quite a few more nights, I just ignored the sounds I heard. Another night, though, things seemed particularly loud again. I just wasn't buying that this could all be the house settling or the heating system or whatever. Once more, I got out of bed and went downstairs to investigate. After looking around, I thought I could hear a noise down in the basement. I decided to go down there myself. Now, I knew there were some things down there that could possibly make noises. There were several different types of pipes, the water heater, and various other things. But the noise I heard didn't really sound like what I imagined any of that would sound like. It sounded like a person moving around. I walked over and opened up the door to go down into the basement. When I did, I saw that it was very dark down there, but I could clearly hear the noise. Now I was sure, whatever this was, it was coming from a person. I stopped, unsure if I should continue. However, the noises stopped a short time after. Now it was just silence. I slowly walked down the stairs and called out, asking if anybody was there, but I got no response. When I made it fully into the basement, I could not see anyone, and I didn't hear anything either. I turned on the only dim light that was down there. It didn't illuminate much, but it was better than nothing. I also turned on the flashlight on my phone to see a bit better. The basement wasn't really all that big. However, when I got close to one corner, I noticed something was off. There was an old box that had been there since I moved in, and it looked like there was something behind it. When I moved it, I saw a sleeping bag and water bottles. Well, those certainly weren't there the last time I'd been down there. It made me realize that somebody had in fact been staying down there, and it looked like they had been living there too. I got so freaked out, I ran back upstairs and called 911 immediately. The police came and looked through my entire house. After searching the entire property, though, nobody seemed to be there. But they did make an interesting discovery. The basement was mostly underground, but there were windows near the ceiling that were at ground level outside. They led directly to the backyard. One of those windows turned out to be extremely easy to open and led to a garden area. It could be opened easily from the outside or the inside. That must have been how the person was coming and going.
I had that window replaced the very next day, and after that, the person never returned. It really freaks me out knowing that I was living with someone in my basement for perhaps a week or more. I'm just glad they never decided to directly confront me, or I really would have been in a lot of trouble.
In college, I took a girl to a drive-in movie theater once as a date. The movie showing was slotted for 9 o'clock, so I picked her up from her place at around 8 p.m., and we made the drive out to the theater. I had never been to this place before, but from everything I had seen online, people had said good things about it. I was kind of excited. The theater was farm-themed, so the watching area was surrounded by tall corn, and there were hay bales and tractors all around, enhancing the feeling of being on a farm. We arrived at the outdoor theater, and it was already really packed, with only a couple of spots left. We ended up being directed to a spot on the edge of the clearing near the corn. It was in a row close to the middle, so we weren't too far from the screen. We set up our blankets and pillows in the back seat of my pickup truck and waited for the movie to start. At some point during the movie, I needed to use the restroom and decided I would try to hold it in. However, towards the end of the movie, I really couldn't take it anymore. I just had to relieve myself. The bathrooms at this theater weren't anywhere near where my truck was parked, so I decided it would have to be the cornfield we parked next to. I hopped out of the bed of the truck, venturing 5 or so feet into the cornfield. I didn't want nearby cars to be able to see me doing my business. I had drunk a lot of liquid before and during the movie, so it was one of those times where it took a solid minute. With the amount of time I was going to be standing there, I just sort of looked around aimlessly as I stared down a corn row. I saw a pair of eyes reflecting in my direction a good distance away. It must have been an animal of some kind, but it was odd that the eyes weren't moving. The animal wasn't making any movements at all, and the eyes never glanced away in a different direction. I finished up my business and got back into the truck. The movie finished a while later, and I packed up the blankets and pillows. My date was already seated in the front of the truck. As I was folding a blanket, I noticed a pair of eyes again in the cornfield, this time pretty close to the edge. Once again, the eyes did not move and continued to stare at me. I had never seen an animal behaving this way. I was curious to see what type of animal it could be. I was guessing some sort of badger. When I was pulling away in the truck, I backed up in such a way that my headlights shined over where I'd last seen the eyes. Well, needless to say, my date and I were completely shocked to see that in the far range of my headlights, there was this gigantic wolf walking back into the corn with its back turned toward us. I had been guessing it would be a fox or something, not a fully grown wild wolf. It was surprising to me that I didn't see the rest of the pack around. I know they usually travel together. We watched as the wolf disappeared into the darkness of the corn and out of the range of my headlights. It was certainly a chilling thought that I had been out there all alone right next to a wolf of that size. It was clearly eyeing me for some reason.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.